We are here with Mr. Augustinium Garoëb. He is the chairperson of the Walvis Bay Zonal Athletics committee. Mr. Garoëb, people are complaining after the zonals about names that is not on your final list, kids that came first, kids that is better than other kids, and people are complaining. Can you tell us exactly what is the problem?
Yeah, Mr. Bowe, thank you for the opportunity. Well, I hear the complaints. I've been hearing the complaints for at least past week after the zonal athletics have ended. But I want to highlight one thing where these complaints are coming from. It comes from scrutiny. You know, after the school's inter-house is done, every school is given a due date where they have to hand in their team list of athletes that will compete at the zonal event. Now, after they have submitted their entry names, what we do from the executive committee with a team of people that we set up to do the entries for the zonals. We do the entries, we send it back to every school, and then we call the schools together at a certain time, the team manager, so that we can do a verification to ensure that all the names are appearing, all the items are appearing, the age groups are okay. But what happened this year in this case was that some of the schools submitted their list very late, past the due date. And normally when the rule is instated that this is the cut-off date, it is the cut-off date. And because of the cut-off date, we didn't want to bend to what somebody is asking us to do. But we said, let's be strict and let's stop all the schools after the due date has passed, so that they can only compete with those athletes that they have ended. So I must say this is something that the schools have to look into and take seriously, that if today is the cut-off date, people should respect the cut-off date, because we give them well in advance in January that this day all the schools should be done with their inter-house athletics, and 2 weeks from there all the entries should be done on this date. And that is the procedure that we wanted to follow, or that was supposed to be followed by the schools. But some schools did not follow that procedure, and that is why today we are finding that some of the athletes were entered back door at the zonal event, where all the schools in Walvis Bay were competing. And it is not just any other athlete that was entered. It was some of very good athletes, which I can also attest, which I know 2-3 years back from primary school up, that were entered back door. But it is not the athlete's fault. It's the fault that lies with the team managers that did not enter the athletes on the time. So when you have an athlete that is entered on pencil, now you are using a system, and the system is having a list of names. So when you have to go and enter the results in the system from the officials, unfortunately that athlete that is in pencil cannot be entered in the system because the name does not apply or does not exist in the system. And that is where this problem is coming. So now it is difficult for this parent or for this team manager to understand that the athlete was entered late and that the athlete is not appearing in the system. And if they could just understand that it is the fault of the team manager that he or she did not enter the athlete on time, then this problem that is here could not have been there.
Okay. Now, yesterday I was here at the school, and to have an interview with Given, the convener for school sports in the region, and then I saw that there was athletes running, and then I heard that these athletes did not compete at the zonals, and now they are running against athletes that already qualified for the regionals to see whether they are better than they. Why did this happen?
Well, where this happened was, some athletes or some team managers like to call their athletes elite athletes. And on my side, I must say, there are a number of athletes ever since I came to this side that I have seen raise the ranks and being the best that they can, that they were the forces to reckon with. And it happened that these athletes were having a lot of competitions, perhaps throughout the year, past year. And because of this, they had physical strains which caused them injuries. And these athletes submitted doctors' letters that proved that this athlete is on injury and cannot run for this period of time. We took the letters, we did the verifications, We looked into it, we scrutinized to ensure that doctors are not just any other fake doctor, because sometimes you find a doctor that can just write a letter so that the athlete can compete at the next stage. But we did all the background checks, and then we saw it fit that these athletes also deserve a chance. And we saw that there were athletes that were rising up, like Elkanah Ileka from Kaisers. He's a very strong athlete. He was always in second, third position. But this year, he proved himself that he can be first at the zonals. However, the other athletes that submitted their doctor's letters submitted so that they can take part at the regional event. But then one thing we should understand is that at the regional event, each zone is only given 2 lines, which means I must only take 2 athletes for 100, 2 athletes for 200. So we communicated with the team managers, and we told the team managers, look, these are the boys that qualified at the zonals for the regional. So let's have the first, second, and third boys, plus the boys that have submitted the doctor's papers, take on the tracks again, so that we can find the best. All the boys were willing to take part. The ones with the doctor's letters were happy to take part. The ones that took part at the zonals, they were also eager to take part. So the only change that happened on the track was the return of Baron van Beek from Walvis Bay Private School. That was the only devastating effect that I saw on the track after the sub 10 that he gave on the track 100 meters, and sub 20 that he gave in the 200 meters, which was a very, very, very good time for an athlete of his nature, of his caliber. Baron van Beek is a very good athlete. It's just that he was laid back, he was laid off, and he could not participate at the zonals, but he came back and he proved himself. As of the other athletes, the results did not really change. The same athletes that did best at the zonal were the same athletes that did the best yesterday here at the tracks.
And then also yesterday, someone was saying that one of the athletes that was disqualified at the zonals also participated yesterday again, and yesterday he won.
This athlete in particular that they are talking about was Elkanah Ileka. Is an under 15 sprinter. At the zonal event, it was supposed that Elkanah had a false start, where the field referee said that his reaction or his speed out of the block was too fast or was too quick before the gun went off. And because of that, they said to disqualify him. But then there was a protest, an appeal that was done by his team. And the whole crowd that day was in favor of Elkanah to take the tracks. And the appeal process was done, and after the due process, the appeal committee or the jury found Elkanah not guilty of any false start, because the reaction time could not be proven, how fast or how quick he got out of the blocks. And already that day, Elkanah took the tracks at the zonals. He ran, he came first. And because of those complaints, Elkanah had to rerun yesterday. And he came first again, both in 100 and 200 meters.
Okay. Then the other question is, which I was asking you earlier about Arno Bowe, who broke I believe the zonal record at the zonal championships, and his name is not appearing on the list of the learners, the athletes that will compete in the regionals.
Well, Arno is another case of athletes that were entered through the back door. I don't want to say through the back door, but Arno is one of the athletes that were entered late, which was entered on pencil. And because of that, Arno's name was not on the system. And it was claimed that a record was broken by Arno. So, well, for a record to be broken, there needs to be an existing record of that age group that needs to be held by someone. But then in Arno's case, everyone should know, or everyone at the zone knows, that we didn't have any records for any items. This was the first time that we were going to have records, because we only started this zone last year, and we decided that only from 2024 After the zone is done, the zonal activities are done, the times, the distances that we stand will be the records to be broken. So until now, we cannot say that there was a record that stood that Arno broke, as much as Arno is claimed to be very good. So Arno, as much as their team managers claim that Arno has a record that he broke, looking through all the paperwork, we could not find Arno's distance, proof that Arno that they broke a record. Because the only record that I remember was for javelin, which I saw there was a signature signed off done, which is still on papers, which can still prove. But in Arno's case, we went through all the papers, but we cannot find any record of his participation.
Now, my next question is, will Arno participate in the regionals?
Well, if we have to be frank, for an athlete to participate at the regionals, you have to participate at the zonals. Arno has participated at the zonals. However, Arno's name does not appear on the list, and it would be very risky to put Arno on the list because it means somebody has to be sacrificed because of the quotas that we get, that each zone has to take this number of athletes per item. So this will be a disadvantage to an athlete that is already trained and that is already getting ready to participate starting tomorrow.
Now. So, there's no one thing that I don't understand. Baron van Wyk, let's take Baron van Wyk. I actually don't want to take athletes' names, but let's go to Baron van Wyk. His name was not on the list because he did not compete at the zonals. But you give him a fair chance to compete after the zonals for a place for the regionals. Now Arno, his name was written in pencil. He came first on the day at the zonals, and now you cannot find any papers of him, and now the boy must sit out.
Yes, with Arno, on pencil what we say is that on the entry list he's on a pencil, but on the start list, that is where we cannot find Arno.
I mean, I believe it's the same with now Baron van Wyk, because he did not compete at the zonals, so his name was not there, and now his name is there.
He's one of the athletes that we said that if an athlete has a doctor's paper, which they have submitted well in advance before the zonals, and if we have all the papers in advance, we knew that these athletes, given the times that they had the previous event, looking at those times, could stand a chance at the regionals. And against that background, we informed all the schools, we informed all the team managers that this is the procedure that is going to happen, and all the boys are willing to take to the tracks. That is where Arno is coming in.
Now, my other thing is now, I mean, just after the zonals, Arno competed at the NAPSO Games, and we all know now that NAPSO Games is just NAPSO Games, and there he broke the Namibian record for his age, but it's not accepted. Still, you guys don't allow him to go to the regionals.
Well, as much as we appreciate what he does in the sport, as much as he does a good records, it just comes down to, was Arno entered? If Arno was on the list on black and white from the get-go, Arno wouldn't have a problem today of not participating at the regional level. I'm here for the kids. We are for the kids. What we do, we are doing for the kids. We don't do it for a parent. We don't do it for the team manager. We don't do it for the chairperson, but we do it for the learners. So we don't want to advantage Arno and disadvantage the athlete that is on the papers. So I must say that if Arno had been on papers, he would be part of the team. And so if we say we are allowing Arno to participate in the regional events. It means we are causing a precedence, a calamity, where come next year, a certain athlete will sit out or for some reason will be ended late, and that team manager or that school will claim that, but you did it for Arno the previous year, why can you not do it for this athlete this year? So we are trying to prevent such an occurrence from happening. So for us to allow Arno to participate will cause or will open a loophole where everyone or anyone can come and say, but you did it for this athlete, why not for this athlete? And that is what we are trying to prevent.
And then there is also things of learners that came second and first, and they are not on the list. But the one that came third is on the list, and the one that came second is not on the list. Can you
yes,
explain
that is pretty simple, because we had a timed final in the 200 and the 400 meters, where we had around 4 to 6 hits in 400 and around 4 hits in 200. So where that problem arises, or where that problem is seen, is that it could be that athletes that were in one hit were faster than the previous hit. And if it was place and time, then the athlete that came second would have still placed in the finals, would have still placed to be part of the team for the going to the regions. But because of the timed finals and because of one hit being faster than the other hit, that is where you would see that an athlete that is third is having a faster time compared to an athlete that is second, or an athlete that is second in this hit is having a faster time compared to an athlete that is first in the other hit. So that is where that issue is.
Okay. Now, there was a lot of problems at the zonals. Now, after the zonals, before the team, the Walvis Bay Zonal team needs to go and compete at the regionals. What are you and your committee going to do to prevent that this happen again next year?
Very simple. What we do is we start with the officials. Minimize the number of officials, minimize the movement of team managers and parents. Parents is where the problem comes, and that is where the problem arises. And the time, if you have enough time for a zonal event, because zonal event is a very big event compared to a regional event, because you have a lot of schools, you have a lot of athletes that are participating at these events, and because of this, sometimes time catches up, and because of time there are few changes made, because the problem that arose was because of a change in time, where the 200 meters, which caused a whole chaos, was changed from hits and finals to a timed final. And during this process, that is where the whole problem arises. So for us as a zone, to prevent these occurrences from happening, is we need to ensure that the officials are protected and that the officials are doing their job on time, the best that they can, and that schools must adhere to the submitting of names on time. Because if we have all the names on time, what happened wouldn't have happened. Then the event would have been smooth as it was the previous year. But I must say, compared, irrespective of those events, I must say this year we had a very, very good times and distances, because athletes this year were very competitive compared to last year, aside from the problems with the 200 meters.
Okay. Now, earlier you said that as from this year, you at the zonal competition, all the times and the distances is now the record for the zones.
Yes.
Now, is there any qualifying times and distances at the inter-school competitions for a learner or an athlete to qualify for the zonals? Will that also be in place next year?
Yes, the committee will sit and the committee will give out, after discussions and analysis and looking into the times and the distances, to the inter-schools, so that they can prepare based on these times and these distances to qualify to participate in the zonal events. And it will not be a business as usual where you would send 300 or 400-meter athletes, but we will give them that a number of athletes depending on the qualifying time that will be participating in the zonal event.
Okay. We know now that parents are not happy, schools, teachers are not happy, managers are not happy. Is there any last words from your side?
Well, I must say, if somebody is not happy, that he should see that there's something happening. If something good is happening, then somebody is not happening. If everyone is smiling, it means there's nothing good that we are doing. So I must say, our athletes in the zone in Walvis Bay are very good. All the schools have good athletes, all the clubs have good athletes, and every club and every school wants their athlete to be the best and to be competing at the regional and the national events. And because of that, that is where the parents and the schools are not happy, because their athlete did not perform, or their athlete was outperformed by the other, or their athlete was DQ'd, and those are the problems that are arising. But one thing I can tell the parents and the coaches, the managers and the teachers and the schools and the athletes themselves is that let's keep doing what we are doing as a Walvis Bay Zone. Let's keep pushing, let's keep training, let's keep developing those good athletes that we are developing. And let's be a family, let's be united in sports, and let's look at the bigger picture, because we are doing this to have kids that will perform at great grand stages in the future. So I want to congratulate all my athletes that will be participating tomorrow and Saturday at the regional event, and I'm very confident that we are going to retain the title that we won last year for being the best zone in the Erongo region. Thank you.
Thank you.